days when the Dukes weren't hazardous. She's only 17, made us curious. It was a carefree time. How about we jump back and rewind? We were living on Winger and a prayer. Just garbage pail kids with mullets and big hair. Let's open up another pack. Gen X wants their future back. Break out the denim jackets with faded band patches. Share memories, Polaroid captured. It's the Gen X marks, the spot podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast. I am your host, Gen X Joe, and we are in the Wherever I May Roam studio. Today, we are talking about Jakes. Famous Jakes. Legendary Jakes. The world is absolutely just crawling with Jakes today. You've got Jake Gyllenhaal, that handsome heartthrob Hollywood actor. You got Jake Paul, internet's favorite troublemaker who thinks he's a pro boxer. And then, of course, for us Gen Xers, you got the legendary Jake the Snake Roberts, the man who actually would bring a python to the wrestling ring. But now, there's a new Jake entering the chat. And no, it's not Jake from State Farm. This Jake is not out there making the ladies swoon. Well, maybe he is. He is a rock star. He's definitely not selling pay-per-view fights, although I'm sure he could beat Jake Paul. And he's definitely not whipping out his python at work. Well, maybe he is. I don't know, but let's hope not. The Jake I'm talking about is Jake Curtis Allard, guitarist, bassist, pianist, singer, composer, and apparently, possibly, a one-man band. And now he is making all kind of moves as he just slithered in to the iconic role of lead guitarist for glam metal band Pretty Boy Floyd. And I had the privilege of interviewing Jake right here on Gen X Marks the Spot podcast. And he is going to tell us how he actually linked up with Pretty Boy Floyd. Also, we discuss original Pretty Boy Floyd guitarist Kristy Majors. And I asked him the ultimate question maybe some of you have been dying to know. Does frontman Steve Summers actually wear a wig? We're going to find out. So here is my interview with the newest leather boy with an electric toy, Jake Curtis Allard of Pretty Boy Floyd.
Appreciate you taking time out of your day to make this happen. Thank you so much.
No, man, thank you. I appreciate you as well, to do this.
I'm happy to do it. Yeah.
And, there's a lot more to you than I actually realized, and I mean that in a positive way.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and kind of like I was saying before, I'm one of those guys. I am literally open to talking about anything. I like that you said to keep politics out of it because, like we were saying, it doesn't do anyone any good. It doesn't help either one of us. But aside from that, I am cool to talk about anything. I'm good with any joke. I'm good with whatever. Nothing has ever offended me in the history of the world.
All right, awesome. But if there's something you don't want in, though, let me know.
Sounds good. So, no, nothing's off limits.
Yeah, I'm very uncontroversial podcast host. So
awesome.
I got a story to tell you, and I just discovered this on my way home to do the podcast this evening with you.
All right, yeah, let's hear it.
I love any type of rock music. It's no secret. So I was looking through your bio just to get refreshed and everything, and I saw that besides being the guitarist in Pretty Boy Floyd, you are the lead vocalist for Midnight Manic.
Yes, that's correct.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go on Spotify and I'm going to search up Midnight Manic. And I was like looking at your song set, and I'm like, I heard it in a nightmare. I'm like, wait a minute. I went to go and listen to it, and here it came up. It was already in my playlist.
No way. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I had no idea, and I apologize. I didn't know it was you.
No, that's great. I mean, I'm glad it captivated you enough without knowing, me, that you would have saved it. I mean, that's awesome. What a compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, no problem. And the opening with, and I'll call them gang vocals. I mean, I just loved how it opened up.
Yeah, we wanted it to just right off the bat grab that attention, the little bit of the kind of organ and synthesizers and the, like you said, the gang vocals, and we thought that would be a good way to kind of pull somebody into the song to start off with.
So you know what? I'm kind of going to let you guide this part of the interview. We can just stay on Midnight Maniac and then get into Pretty Boy Floyd a little bit later.
However you'd like to, absolutely.
Let's go that way. Let's go that way.
Perfect.
You guys started the band in 2023, and you guys kind of make it more of like an electric rock type of sound.
Absolutely. So him and I, we had this idea once we started the band that we would have preferred to take our time with the songs, which we are, and nothing's off limits. We wanted, I should say the ultimate goal was to create music, to create songs that we would want to go back and listen to ourselves, regardless of what anyone thinks. So nothing was off limits. We're always open to experimentation. Hey, we'll try this thing here. If it works, great. If it doesn't, whatever. Hey, you played that guitar part a little differently than I heard it in my head. Hand it over to me. We're just a great songwriting duo, I would say.
That's awesome, man. When you guys have a good relationship and a good flow, my opinion, that gets portrayed in the music itself.
Yeah, definitely. You gotta really love what you're doing. I mean, what's the whole point of it if you're creating something that you hope the masses will like, but you wouldn't even go back yourself and re-listen to it?
And I know we're going to talk about Pretty Boy Floyd in a little bit, but in my opinion, the older I got, and you kind of just touched on that now, back in the day, bands such as Pretty Boy Floyd and Poison and all the glam bands, they kind of just made songs. I'm not saying not for what they liked, but for the masses as well.
At that point in rock and roll history, there was something to be said about, hey, let's blow their faces off. Let's put on this giant electric show. Let's get a record deal. Let's do XYZ. Let's be let's be a party band, and which is fun. I mean, I love that stuff. It's excellent. But yeah, we're taking just a slightly different approach than that. We're kind of starting at what we would want to hear. What I really like the best about working with Marshall is, not to keep talking him up the whole time, but he's so easy to work with in the sense that if he doesn't like something, he will not hide it from me. If I don't like something, I won't hide it from him. But we will always give each other the benefit of the doubt of, you know what? Let's record it. Let's stick it in the song. Let's listen to it. And then we can judge it. But let's not just, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Maybe I'm not picturing it the same way as you.
Yeah, it's not it's my way or the highway type of
exactly
band. Yeah.
100%.
That's cool, man. I like to hear stuff like that with bands, no internal fighting, no nothing.
Totally.
Your other project that you play bass in, and that is with Christian Shield. How did that come about?
So when I moved to Texas, and for some backstory, I lived my whole life in Southern California. Coincidentally, about 15 minutes from Steve Summers of Pretty Boy Floyd, and yet we didn't know each other. I moved to Texas maybe 6 years ago. I'd say about 4.5 years ago. Music was still kind of a hobby of mine at the time, but I was out and about, and I was checking out different bands, and I saw this advertisement on Facebook for one of the first shows of Christian Shield's band. And I thought, oh, that looks pretty interesting. And I saw, and they're playing it alongside Faster Pussycat, another band that I enjoyed. And I've met a couple of the members in the past from when I lived in California. And I thought, well, that'll be a fun night. So I went out, checked out the band, got acquainted with Christian Shields. Really cool guy, East Coaster. He's from Rhode Island, so not too far from your neck of the woods. And just a real great down-to-earth guy. We kind of hit it off, became friends. And then I would say maybe a month after that, I posted a video just for the fun of it online, singing a cover of my favorite song, Sister Golden Hair by America. And he really liked my voice, and he saw that I was a guitarist, and so he called me up and said, "Hey, do you play bass?" And I'm like, "Well, I've never owned a bass in my life." He goes, "Would you be willing to learn? Unfortunately, our bassist has other commitments, and we could really use someone like you." And, well, I sat down. I worked as hard as I could to get the bass lines down and the backing vocals, and then he pretty much started my journey as a professional musician, and I will always have him to thank for that. Actually, I hope I'm not giving too much away now, but unless he's made the announcement by the time this comes out, but we are doing a tour in Europe in September alongside Enough's Enough, so that should be a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh, you know what? I heard that Enough's Enough is touring, so I didn't really look and see where they were touring at, but that was announced maybe a few days ago. I had seen on their Facebook page.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Yeah, we're doing it kind of as a package, and we really love those guys. We've been on the road with them in the past. Chip's Enough is awesome. Jason, and I believe Brent and Luis are going to be on the band. I know sometimes he'll have a little bit of a rotating door of who's able to work with him, but
and just to give Enough's Enough a little bit of props, I don't think they missed a beat when Donnie left and Chip took over the vocals.
He does such a great job. And I mean, just aside from his flashy look, it goes beyond that. I mean, he's got that cool like hippie swag with the bass and the bright strings, but he's also just one of the nicest, kindest-hearted people I've ever met in my life.
I love to hear that. Those guys were, and I'll just call them my heroes, back in the day growing up in the 80s and 90s, because really that's all I looked up to back in those days. I didn't have much of a life, and that's no cut on anyone, but, it was the 80s and the 90s. I didn't really have any cable television until like 1995, so.
Oh, I get it. I mean, music is it just touches you in a way that a lot of other mediums of entertainment really can't.
Well, speaking of music and entertainment, and I'm trying to lead into this, you are also an award-winning composer.
Yes. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I've always enjoyed instrumental and classical music. And when I decided to start composing for myself, I did it really. And this sounds so cliche too, because you hear people say this all the time. Oh, I don't care if anyone ever heard it except me. I do it because I love it. Most of the time, that's not true. I do music because not only do I love it, but I also enjoy everything that comes with it. But when it comes to the classical music, I mean, I get no greater sense of comfort than when I'm just sitting there with blank sheets of sheet music and either my keyboard or guitar, and I'm just going through and writing these different parts and just hoping that in one way or another they all work out together and harmonize beautifully. And it's just it's very therapeutic, and I'm so glad that I was able to get at least some level of recognition for it, because I think I put more time and effort into that than I've put into any other piece of music that actually gets listened to.
Well, congratulations, by the way, on that.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and I guess for anyone listening, that piece is one of the few pieces that I actually didn't personally play any of the instruments on, because it's a violin duet. It's called Neo Capriccio, which just means a new caprice. And essentially, it was just a duo of violins, and it's just something that I was playing with in my head and a little bit on guitar, and I thought, you know what, this would make for a beautifully classically inspired piece, and I'm really glad I did it. It was very expensive to hire the musicians, and it took a long time to compose it out, but one more notch under the belt, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, see, I wish I could follow up with questions for you about the classical pieces, but I I don't
It's
know
not for
much
everyone.
about that. All I can say is maybe you are the second coming of Kip Winger.
Thank you so much for that, because he is really a hero to me, because he's proven that a good songwriter can have so many different layers to them. And I, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of that album he came out with maybe 4 or 5 years ago now, but it sounded like it could have been a ballet straight out of the 18th century. It was just absolutely perfect in every way, and he had it recorded with this symphony out of I believe it was Tennessee. And yeah, it's just incredibly beautiful, and I would love to personally give him props for that someday.
Well, hey, they are back out on tour now. You know, they retired for maybe like 3 months, and then now there you have it. They're back.
I saw that. That kind of threw me off. I thought he said he was kind of done with Winger, but I guess maybe he meant just like full tours and he's still doing the shows here and there. But either way, I mean, him and Reb Beach and all those guys, I mean, they're just incredible musicians and great songwriters. So I'm always glad to see them doing it.
Yeah, and Reb is from my neck of the woods down here in Pittsburgh, so he's always been a guitar hero to me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. No, it's funny. Also, our drummer in Pretty Boy Floyd, Matt Muckle, he's in your neck of the woods. He's in Pittsburgh.
Right. Yes, I remember seeing that post on Facebook that Steve had made, and you know, just off of memory, I believe they actually met at a show that Pretty Boy Floyd did not so long ago in Pittsburgh, and when the band needed a new drummer, he stepped up.
It's such a total coincidence, because the show you've mentioned is it was at, Jurgles.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was at Jurgles, and I think I might have seen Matt that night as well. I was opening for Pretty Boy Floyd with Christian Shields that night, coincidentally. So I mean, there was a whole lot of us in that same spot, just as by total happen chance.
You have been in Pretty Boy Floyd, and correct me on the month, since June of 2025?
Yes, unless you count the first show that I filled in at the end of April of 25.
Well, let's count
Aside from that, yeah. Yeah. It was and I mean, I could touch on that story if you'd like.
Yeah, man, why not? We started to mention that.
Perfect. So Christian Shields and Pretty Boy Floyd were on the road together for close to a month, and Steve went over to Japan for a little while to do some shows. We did Christian Shields and Trickster did a show at the Whiskey A Go-Go, and then we did a few other shows up and down the West Coast, and then met up again with Pretty Boy Floyd. And me and Steve got along really well. He's one of the funniest guys I think I've ever met in my life. He shares my sense of humor. We got along just right off the bat. And he had a guitarist doing the second half of the shows there in April, Alex. He also plays for Jeff Tate. But unfortunately, Alex wasn't able to do the last show, and I think Steve had kind of just accepted, like, okay, I'm not going to do my last show, no big deal. But I caught wind of it, and I went to Steve, and I'm like, well, I'm also a guitarist. I'm not just a bassist. Do you mind if I maybe filled in, and then you don't have to miss this last show? Just, as a favor. And, I like the guy, and I thought it'd be a pretty cool opportunity. Hey, I played with Pretty Boy Floyd. I could always kind of carry that around with me, and he was pretty grateful for it. And so I just tried my best in 2 evenings to learn an entire set, and I gotta say it wasn't perfect. There was a fair amount of flubs, but I think he really appreciated that I was able to step in, and he was able to do that last show there on the tour. He called me up a few months later, like you mentioned, June, and that is when I started up doing a few more fill-in shows while he was looking for a new permanent guitarist. And so I did one festival, I did another. We opened for Queensryche and Foghat and a lot of other great bands. And by the second or third show that I'd filled in with him on, he just kind of pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, I don't even know why I'm looking for anyone. You've done such a great job. Would you like to stay with Pretty Boy Floyd?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." I mean, that was my goal the whole time. I didn't take these shows just out of because I didn't have anything else going on. Of course, I want to be part of this incredible glam metal band that was part of my youth growing up. I mean, wow.
So how long have you been playing guitar? I know you said you were just kind of like aspiring guitarist in the music industry a few years back.
Yes. So I treated it as a hobby, and so I'll take a step back here. When I was in elementary, middle school, we had the school band, and I did a little clarinet, and they wanted someone to fill in and strum a couple chords on guitar, but I really don't count that. I didn't touch guitar again until I turned 20, and that was because a good friend of mine, who's now quite an accomplished songwriter over in the Netherlands, I went to high school with him, and once we were out of high school, went to college, a few years together, he's like, "You know, you like hard rock so much, why don't you pick up guitar?" And I'm okay. So I did it for fun, and I really enjoyed it. And I had a whole lot of people say, like, "Oh, why don't you start a band? Why don't you tour? Why don't you this and that?" And repeatedly, I'd always say, "I never want to do music as a profession, ever. I don't want to do it. I'm in engineering. I want to be an engineer. That's all I want to do." And then I moved to Texas, and then I became a musician. But the in-between was I just got these opportunities offered to me, and I had never really thought of it as a career path before. But I guess, yeah, really around 20 years old is when I started picking up guitar for real. So I got a much later start in life. And, I've had quite a few people tell me that I'm at a disadvantage for starting so late, but I'm just doing the best I can. I think I'm doing all right. I'm glad Steve's happy with me. I'm glad the audience is happy with me, but I'm just doing everything I can every day to improve myself. All I care about is the quality of the show, not only the music, but also the spectacle as well. And as long as everyone who comes out is having a good time, I'm happy.
Well, you said you were at a disadvantage according to certain people in your life. Well, you showed them you are in one of the iconic bands of the 80s, Pretty Boy Floyd, an award-winning
Definitely.
composer. You have your own band, Midnight Maniac. You are with Chris, and there's another band, and I forget the name, but it's called like the Bombers or something like that.
Bomber Alley, yes.
Yes.
Oh, man. So that's me and this incredible drummer / drum tech / absolute icon named Talon Black, who has worked with everyone from Netflix to the Dee Snider Band and everyone in between. And man, I owe him a lot too. My first ever paid writing gig was with him, and he brought me in to record guitars, and we did a couple original songs. We did a couple covers. He got me my first radio airplay ever, and he's just such a great down-to-earth guy. And what's really funny too is I always tell people, you never know where you're going to meet somebody who's a positive impact on your life or a good connection. Me and him, we just only knew each other from online, from Facebook, Instagram, from, text conversations. And he'd asked me to record something with him. And I told him, I'm like, "Hey, I'm pretty new to this, but I don't know. I guess he saw something in me. And, I'm very grateful for that. He's one of the handful of people that really helped me take music a little bit more seriously as a career rather than as just a hobby."
I can relate to you on that because when I wanted to do my podcast, I was him-hawing about it like, I got my radio career from many moons ago and I love doing that, but I don't have the equipment to do a podcast. I don't know if I have the time to do it. And I was friends with Stacy Blades from LA Guns and Rocks gang on Facebook. Never met him. Probably never will, but that's okay. But I just happened to reach out to him, and was just like, you know what? If anybody's going to do this, I think Stacy might be the person that would be my first guest. You know what? From the moment I asked him, of course, we had to coordinate our schedules, but he was like, yeah, man, I'm going to do it. And from
That is
there,
so cool.
yeah, so I owe a lot to Stacy Blades. I'm forever indebted. However long this podcast lasts, whether it's another 3 months, 3 years, or whatever, I'm indebted to him because he is allowing me to do what I enjoy.
Helped you get it started. I mean, that's cool. I totally see the overlap there. You just, like I was saying, I mean, you never know. You make these connections with whether it's online or in person, and it's valuable. It's really incredible.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's talk a little bit more about Pretty Boy Floyd.
Absolutely.
So you said nothing was off limits.
Nothing. Lay it on me. Hold on, let me take a couple shots of vodka real quick, and no, I'm just kidding.
If this is off limits, I promise you I will cut this out of the podcast.
No. Nothing gets cut out.
Does Steve wear a wig?
No. Steve's got his natural hair growing out. What he does is he'll put on a bandana and he'll comb it back to make it, thick, that 80s cool looking hairstyle. And honestly, I'll say this, to get that dark leather boys look, both of us dye our hair black. My hair color is naturally a dark brown, as is his is a little more naturally dark than mine, but both of us will do the dye, we'll do the back combing, we'll do the teasing, he'll do the bandana and this and that, and we'll just try to make it look as visually appealing as possible.
So everything I'm reading from Kristy Majors is basically all made up in jealousy and whatever you want to call it.
Look, I've never met the guy personally. I know he doesn't care for me, and that's okay. I get it. I'm in his former position, and I can't blame a guy who's upset about that. But that being said, there's one post he made that just, to me, sums up that he's just upset and jealous unnecessarily. He took a very obvious picture of Steve resting after a show, and somebody had knocked over some water bottles, and you can see the plastic bottles on the ground, and he tried making this ridiculous claim that Steve was peeing on the floor or something.
Yeah.
And all these people were like, oh my God, that's ridiculous. And I held back because, as you and I both know, it's kind of hard to change people's opinions on anything. But you can see clear as day, there's plastic bottles broken open on the floor with liquid everywhere. And yet he tries to paint this narrative of, oh, he's this drunk buffoon, he's this, he's that. He made a post about me. He took a picture from one of my first shows with Steve where I had a lot of eye makeup on because, it's a glam look. And he goes, oh, look, another, I don't know if I can say this on anything, another douchebag with his head dunked his head in paint. What a douchebag. I didn't bother responding because I'm like, well, anyone who's not blind can see. I did a little eye makeup because, that's the look. It's a glam band. I'm not up there being myself. I'm up there putting on a character. I'm putting on a show. So it's all right.
Well, we know you're not Gene and Paul where it has to be perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
But
he's upset, and whatever he wants to say, if it makes him feel better, I hope he finds some inner peace at one point or another. I think everyone deserves that, and I hope he comes around, but no sign of that.
It seems like he falls off the radar for a very long time, and then for whatever reason pops back up on social media. And believe me, that wasn't the first time that I have seen that photo of Steve that he just recently posted. He did that like several years ago as well.
Oh, so he's been trying to milk that, it seems.
Yeah, so it's not the first time. And
if I could make one brief statement about the whole situation, and this isn't to put anyone down or this or that or whatever, but originally Pretty Boy Floyd in terms of Steve Summers and the songs and the writing behind it, it was Steve and his very first guitarist ever, who unfortunately they didn't get to do live shows together, but he was his partner, Ariel Styles, who you may have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was Steve Summers and Ariel Styles, and Ariel was helping Steve put a band together. So of course reached out, got a cool looking drummer, and they worked tirelessly to get, working ready for the stage. They got Vinny on bass, and then after some time passed by, Ariel had other commitments. He had to kind of move on, and Steve tried to get another guitarist who could maybe replicate the parts. Steve invites Kristy Majors over from New York, and they're working together and they're trying to get these shows going. They're doing the record deals or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, Pretty Boy Floyd from the beginning has always been Steve Summers' project, and his brother Mitch helped him out with the management, and Ariel Styles helped Steve with the songwriting. So any of these claims that Kristy was a founding member, it's not quite true. And I get it. He was part of the first iteration of these people who were playing live, but he's not a founding member. It's always been Steve's band plus whoever he's hired.
Well, thanks for clearing that up. I wasn't sure, I mean, it's
definitely. Like I said, I've never met the guy in person. I don't know why he dislikes me, aside from the fact that I'm in his previous role. Yeah, I mean, I just wish everybody the best.
Well, I compare almost everything somehow to sports. I relate everything to sports. When you say you are in his previous role, that's kind of like me being a Pittsburgh Steeler fan right now. We got Aaron Rodgers. He is in the role of 40 years ago Terry Bradshaw.
That's true. Yeah.
So I'm going to be a fan of the Steelers, whether it was Terry Bradshaw from 40 years ago or Aaron Rodgers of today. So it continues on. Bands continue on. Sports teams continue on. What relevancy is there for, let's just say, Terry Bradshaw to rip Aaron Rodgers for being in his role when Terry is, pushing 80 years old now? I mean,
absolutely. And I mean, God love him. I love Terry Bradshaw. I could never see him doing that because it just hurts the brand. It hurts his reputation. It hurts Aaron Rodgers. It hurts everybody.
Was I an Aaron Rodgers fan before? No, he beat us in a goddamn Super Bowl.
Right.
All those years ago. But hey, he's our guy now, and I'm going to root for him.
I remember early on when he was a rookie, not to get too far aside into sports, but I mean, he kind of blew me away.
Yeah. Yeah. He was under Brett Favre and all those years. And, and what I wanted to back up and say is I'm going to be a fan of you because you are now in Pretty Boy Floyd. So I'm not going to hate you because you're not Kristy Majors.
Right. And I never could be. And I'm just doing the best I can. I just want to help in any way I can to keep this brand going. I want to provide the best show possible to everyone who comes out. And, if sometimes I fall short, I fall short. If sometimes I exceed and, I put on a better show than maybe a predecessor, then so be it. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to always do the best I can no matter what. I mean, there's been a lot of talent through this band. Take Kerry Kelly. Yeah. He went on to, he's in, Night Ranger now. He was in Wasp for a while. I mean, there's been a lot of really high talent in this group, and I'm glad that Steve is able to keep bringing such a high energy, fun night to all these people. And he always seems to find these musicians, I'm not even talking about myself. I mean, let's talk about Matt Muckle. Let's talk about Dietrich. Let's talk about Chris or anyone else in recent years. I mean, these are incredible showmen. These are incredible musicians. These are people who just really have a passion for giving the audience a fun night and really getting into it. And I applaud Steve for that. I mean, he's done an exceptional job with that.
And I'm sure you're going to agree with me on this. When all is said and done, it's about the music and the legacy. And, from what I understand, and maybe I've missed something over the years, but there's nothing really negative you can say about Pretty Boy Floyd, the band.
No, it's always been, and just from what I've seen, I mean, I look up old articles, I look up old record contracts and this and that and talk to people. You're kind of hard pressed to find anyone that says that they didn't at least have a great time at the show. It's always been about just not mindless partying, but enjoying life, taking a little time out of the day to day. Because, and if I could make an aside here,
yeah,
life's tough. You got work, you got family, you have this and that, these obligations of the real world. But when you take time aside and you go out and you get to watch a band play, maybe you love the band, maybe you don't know who they are, whatever, you're kind of disconnecting from the stresses of real life and being able to take in a moment of just pure enjoyment, pure, hey, let's let loose, let's have a fun time, let's make it a fun night. And I think Pretty Boy Floyd is one of those bands that can just absolutely take you out of the stresses of your day-to-day life. And I mean that genuinely too. If I'd never known Steve personally, if I'd never joined the band, if I'd never even become a professional guitarist, I would, without a doubt, have felt better after a long work week going to a Pretty Boy Floyd concert.
Yeah, most definitely what you said. And for me, music heals. And whether you like hard rock, heavy metal, hair metal, country, contemporary, whatever, if that's your genre and you like it and it does something to you and it moves you and it makes you feel better, do it. Listen to it.
Of course. Any old thing. Hip hop, rap, experimental, whatever it is, if it touches you and if it takes you and makes your life a little bit more enjoyable, then, bless you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, man. Definitely, with that. Now, is there anything you want to say about any of the bands you're in, any projects you're working on, your social media sites and such?
Yes, I'll say this. To any of the Pretty Boy Floyd fans listening right now who have seen our shows, haven't seen our shows, coming out this year, came out in previous years, I would love to encourage you to come and check out on any platform my website, jakeallardmusic.com, my social media, wherever, Midnight Maniac. If you're in the mood for some new music, if you're looking for something new to listen to, if you love hard rock of any sense, I think you'll love it. Check out Midnight Maniac, share it with your friends. I'm highly confident you'll enjoy it. That aside, check out my page for the upcoming Pretty Boy Floyd shows, Christian Shield shows, and I encourage anybody who wants to talk to me, message me, has questions for me, shows coming up, merch, this or that, please reach out. Don't be a stranger. I'm totally open to talking to anybody. I enjoy it. I love it. And if there's anything I could ever do for you, I'm going to if I'm able. So, I mean, that's about it. I'm just always happy to make connections with whoever I can.
Yeah, and I can testify to that. I mean, I contacted you on social media, and I believe it was within a few hours you got back to me, and we started discussing music and being on the podcast, and, a couple little hiccups with scheduling, but here we are. And, yeah, you're genuine, man.
Definitely. So, well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
No, and I got that from you right away, too, and then I went back and I listened to your interviews and your podcast. I'm like, oh, my God, this guy's the real deal. He's super pro, very well spoken, great podcast. I just enjoyed it all around.
Hey, I appreciate the kind words as well. And one thing before we do go, I forgot. I want to thank the entire Pretty Boy Floyd band for doing what Poison is not doing this year and playing the 40th anniversary of Look What the Cat Dragged In.
That was a total blast. I'm glad we got to do it too. Man, I mean, the Whiskey A Go-Go, when I was growing up, that was my go-to club. I went there almost every single either weekend or Tuesday when they had the jam nights, and so to be there and to be delivering those classic hits to all these people, in addition to some other, Pretty Boy Floyd tunes and a couple Motley songs as well, I was like, man, this is really cool. This is a great experience.
Man, you go from fan to on the stage. I mean, yeah, dude, like we talked about earlier, you have come full circle in quite a short period of time.
I'm so grateful for it. I know nothing lasts forever.
Well, I want to wish you the best of luck on all your projects, your continued success with Pretty Boy Floyd. And if you guys ever come around to the Berg, say Jurgles or the Craft House or anywhere else, I'm going to be there, and hopefully we can catch up and meet in person.
We've got a few more dates we're waiting to release for this year. I think we're going to see you sooner rather than later. And anytime you reach out to me. You see a show coming up, you're on the guest list, no doubt about it.
Oh, be still my heart, man. Now we're talking. All right, Jake. Well, hey, man, you have a great rest of the day. And I want to thank you again for being a part of the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast.
Always. Thank you so much. Can't wait to talk to you again soon.
That, my friends, is your Jake of all trades, Jake Curtis Allard. Jake's not out there getting Oscar nominations or pay-per-view millions or even whipping out that Python, although I should have asked him about that, but yeah, maybe that's for another day. But he is out there winning awards, and he got first freaking place with the 2024 World Melodia Music Awards. And I'm not even going to try and pronounce his composition title because, well, I just can't. That's it. Plain and simple. I can't pronounce it. So we're just going to say, Jake, congratulations, my man. You are definitely a Jake of all trades when it comes to music, as I had said. Guitarist for Pretty Boy Floyd, bassist for the Christian Shields Band. He's in Bomber Alley. He got his own band, the Midnight Maniacs. How does he even find time to breathe? And I want to thank Jake for that little bit of inside information about Pittsburgh. Pretty Boy Floyd just may be coming to the Berg, so we might want to dust off our leather jackets, or better yet, our faded denim jackets with our favorite band patches, as my theme song says. Yeah, we should probably do that as well. We're not sure they're coming, but that hint was pretty strong that Pretty Boy Floyd may be in the Berg sometime this year. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that they set the night on fire if they do. So if you like this interview and you are a fan of Pretty Boy Floyd and now a fan of Jake Curtis Allard, go and check him out on all social media. Follow his journey, support his music, and keep your eyes wide open because I got a feeling this is only the beginning for Jake. On a separate note that wasn't in the interview, Jake, I want to wish you the very best of health. I know you had a little tiny health scare, and I'm wishing you a speedy recovery, my friend. And as I like to say, Jake, rock loud, live proud. Peace out. Props everyone for listening. I'm Gen X Joe, and this has been the Gen X Marks the Spot podcast.
The Gen X Marks the Spot podcast.